Let's start this lesson by drawing this puppy. The head is a circle. Now for this dog, we'll also start the same way for now. First, let's establish this circle. The ears are about the same, the ears. We look at based on our own. The dog, we're looking at how big are his ears, what size should the shape be, but a dog's eyes generally appear a bit smaller because a dog's face is a bit larger. Small eyes. Then this part up here is just like drawing a cat's eyes. The upper eyelid slightly. Draw the bottom part wider. Then here we'll roughly find a point. Find a point. Now let's look at this dog. He has black and white areas. We'll take this black and white intersection going to here. Slowly spreading out, spreading wider to the bottom. Then there's also the nose position. How do we find it? You see when we drew the cat. We also explained first draw this kind of shape. That shape should be a bit farther, a bit bigger than one in the middle. This is the mouth on top. His mouth here is also relatively flat. He doesn't have, you see when we did the cat, it might be like this. His mouth splits to both sides, like this. This roughly looks like this. After this shape, we'll take the pen and start the eyeballs. The eyeballs. This area here is quite round, completely just a circle. You see his eyelid here? We'll first line from the top line to the corner, the eye corner, then this middle eyeball. This area has a bit of white. Don't use too solid a line for the nose, either same as with the cat. First use a lighter line to outline, roughly sketch it out for him, because for this nose, this side is the dark part, then this side is a bit brighter. This mouth area, this part has a lip. When we draw this, pay attention to his highlight areas. Try to leave a bit more at first. If you feel it's too much later, press a little toward the middle, because if you leave too little, you can't add it back. Leave a bit more. We can repeatedly add. Add hatching on top, let it flow down naturally. Because his fur color has variation, that is black and white. This part is black, then below is white. But between this side and the white, this area, you want to make it natural. This hatching must have tapered ends. Many students keep struggling to control it. You really must practice this. When drawing lines, it's easy to make them too square and blocky. Then up here on the ear, we need to understand and feel how this fur flows along here and then. Because of the ear's structure, shouldn't it go upward? Shouldn't it be like this with that S-curve feel? The hairs will conflict with each other. When they conflict, they bunch up together. And these lines will have this twisting different directions. After we see this, it gradually gets a bit longer and longer. Then from inside here, from inside the ear cavity, this fur, it hangs down from the head, straight down from above. Generally for smoother areas like this, the brighter parts in shadow. When we draw it, we work on top of the existing lines and press down on them, darken them a bit more on top, press down. This way it looks cleaner. Don't add lines in the middle. Don't add lines in the blank spaces, because it's already quite dense. If we add more lines in the middle, you can't control it precisely enough. It's very easy to create conflicts where lines cross each other. In that case, your drawing will end up very messy, a messy feeling. This part is definitely recessed inward, right? Then this area comes up. Where it rises up and where it dips in, we darken those areas. Good. This is darkened now. Continue darkening the lower face, following downward. Don't rush this. This area requires being very careful. Work on this area first. Of course, if the gaps are larger, we can add lines in the middle too. It depends on how steady your hand is. If it's within your control range, if you feel you can control it, you can add inside. If you're particularly precise, we just thicken the existing lines and press over them. This way the whole thing looks heavier. When we draw, we're really just looking at reference, looking at reality. We can also use our own judgment. Think about how this fur is soft, and then from this width in the middle here, see how to connect it and make it as natural as possible. Make it a bit brighter. Okay, now let's work on this highlight. This part here on his eyelid, starting from this area, following along. This should be lighter, not too heavy. Okay, let's look at his eyelid here. It has a curve like a sphere. It has this arc. Cotton swab these areas. Now let's slowly lift this up. We can still leave some thickness on top here. Leave both sides. Then this area might look at this shadow area here. We can add some lines, press it down a bit because his highlight areas are some fabric, so we can't let it be too prominent. This white area is so obvious. For areas like this, we'll go lightly, casually, but still following the form. I think this area might be a bit too bright, too light, so let's slowly press it down, reduce it a bit. For this nose area, let's go over the whole thing again, press it down, make it darker, more unified overall. Because this area is recessed inward, so we add it layer by layer, don't flatten it. You see, even though it looks basically dead, but inside, because of the notes we made earlier, you can still see there are layers. It's not just painted dead black. The edge of this head, that's roughly how we'll render it.